What's going on, everybody? It's been a long time, too long, actually. So I just wanted to make a follow-up video to the first Hot Wheels Nintendo Switch is a scam video I made a couple months back. Pretty much, this game kind of got a second wind with me. I ditched the Nintendo Switch version, got a refund, and months later, a few weeks ago actually, I bought Hot Wheels on Steam for $10, and I've been playing it on the Steam Deck since then. So I guess this is my official review of Hot Wheels Unleashed, technically on the Steam Deck. Initially, what rubbed me the wrong way about the Nintendo Switch version was the constant harassment of Nintendo Switch Online, asking you to subscribe because of one feature or another, that it just kept notifying the user that you were offline and you needed to connect to the internet. Then you press cancel, and it just kept on asking every single time you played one race or exited the editor. It would always tell you. But with the Steam version, it just tells you once when you start the game. And any other time, it doesn't bother you anymore with that trivial screen of explaining that you're offline as if you don't know. So initially, yeah, that made my experience a little more sour, but it's gone with the Steam version, and I'm assuming with the rest of the versions, but I'm not sure. You can correct me on that in the comment section if the Xbox or PlayStation versions notify you consistently like that. So yes, that problem is gone. Also, I put the game in an easier difficulty because I kind of saw the default difficulty in a starting race as sort of unfair. Like, I'm just getting used to the game and I'm playing for the first time, and any mess up just lands me in 12th place, and I most likely stay there because with the normal difficulty, the drivers never mess up. Nothing ever goes wrong with the drivers. They never get stuck by the spider. They're just perfect drivers, and that's not fun. If you have to be a perfect driver in a racing game and not have a particular style of racing, then there's no real wiggle room or any kind of freedom to play the way you want. So yes, I was trying to play the way I wanted, and it didn't work because all the drivers just look at you. If you make any kind of mistake, they'll just pass you and stay forever in front of you. And with games like Burnout, some of the drivers would actually hit each other or run into walls because of the other driver, because of miscalculation. The AI in Hot Wheels Unleashed is just not fun when it's in normal mode. So when I play in easy mode, they tend to mess up and do all those other things. Of course, I eventually put it into normal when I got used to the game. Initially, everybody was saying in the other video, oh, it's because you're not good. Yeah, I suck, okay? I just started. It was my first race and I just started. How do I not suck at the game if I just start? Yes, I sucked at the game, but the AI, they were just perfect artificial intelligence without any flaws. You couldn't mess up once. How is that fun? If you have to play a game perfectly, how is that fun? And if you go on even the Steam reviews, it has very mixed reviews. And some people actually mentioned this issue. So yes, I did suck, obviously. Not sure why that's a surprise if somebody who just picked up a game for the first time, played their first race, just sucks at the game. Yes, of course. But when I see an AI that just isn't right, or that's too perfect, like a circuit racing game or a pro sport racing game, something like that where you have to be absolutely perfect, I don't see that racing game as fun. I'm more into the Burnouts and the Need for Speed games where you actually have some wiggle room to do what you want and to have your own racing styles. And that's where it leads me to the next subject of the Steam version goes 60 FPS and the Switch version was 30 FPS. I don't know about you, but with every Burnout game I've played, it always goes 60 FPS. And with a lot of Need for Speed games that I played, most of them go 60 FPS. That's just the way I'm used to driving in real life and in video games. So with the Nintendo Switch version, the 30 FPS just didn't feel right to me. And so that might have been the reason why I wasn't doing so well, because when I put it back into normal mode, I was all good. I was drifting very well, even though the drifting in the game can use some work. It's a little slidey. I mean, too drifty. Not sure how to explain it, but when you drift at a certain angle, it kind of goes in that angle way too hard. And sure, it could be the vehicle, but I drove a vehicle with perfect handling or whatever, perfect stats, and the drifting was still a little odd. So the drifting's not perfect. And the reason why that's important to me is because a lot of the game relies on drifting. Hot Wheels Unleashed, there's a ton of drifting in the game, and that drifting gets you boost. So when I'm drifting all the way left, to make a left turn, there are obstacles on the left side of the lane. And my style is when I drift left, I don't really strain up. I just keep drifting left and then I strain up on the left side of the lane. So there's always some kind of obstacles that are on the left, and it's just so awkward when they're placed in that particular place, you know, because you're drifting left and then they put obstacles left and then you most likely will hit it, because none of the AI are going to fall for that crap because, well, they know everything. So the obstacles are always there for the player if you're not playing online. But of course, with online play, it's so much more fun because people make mistakes and they're not just perfect robots that just do what the ones and the zeros tell it to do, but they actually make mistakes. It's so much more fun playing online, in my opinion, and on easy mode because you get a little more freedom. But yes, I played a lot of it offline because I was on my Steam Deck, and eventually I got used to it. And eventually I got better cars. Even though it takes a while, it still takes some time to get enough gold coins for a freaking box or something. So you have to play the story mode, and I kind of like the story mode now because every time when I played just one level in the story mode, the Nintendo Switch version would just harangue me with offline notifications, and it would constantly tell me every single time I played one level. So the story mode was a bit of a detriment because of that feature that the Nintendo Switch version had for some reason. Not sure why. But yes, I'm also going to talk about the biggest elephant there ever was in any room. That's the fact that I call the game a scam. So playing online was the main reason why I saw it as a scam. Buying the Nintendo Switch online and getting coins faster with Hot Wheels Unleashed online on the Nintendo Switch, you need a Nintendo Switch Online subscription to play online. And the fastest, easiest way to get coins in this game is online. There are even tracks that are like literally 5 inches long because it's Hot Wheels cars and Hot Wheels track. And people just keep playing these tracks over and over again and just spamming the race to get enough coins, unlock something that shouldn't take 100 tries to get, which are the tracks and the cars. Usually with racing games, I can unlock everything within 10 hours. With Hot Wheels, you're gonna need a lot more than 10 hours because everything in the storyline that you complete only gives you about 50 coins. For a box, you'll need about 300 or 500 coins. For tracks, you'll need about the same amount. That means 6 events equal a new car that's randomized or a track that you can play in split screen or just alone. So the reason specifically the Nintendo Switch version is a scam is because you need to pay for online for the Nintendo Switch version, like everything else. But with an Xbox or a PlayStation, that would just be a normal thing, right? You would just buy a subscription, be online all the time. It wouldn't affect your experience at all. But with the Nintendo Switch version, in order to unlock something fast and efficiently, you're going to need to be online, which means that when you bring it outside, that game's kind of going to be useless. And for some reason, the Nintendo Switch version harasses you with these offline notifications and telling you that you need Nintendo Switch subscription or something like that, with these constant pop-ups that are not consumer or user friendly. And the fact that the Nintendo Switch version didn't make anything easier to unlock is kind of sad because you're going to be playing this game offline theoretically, since the Nintendo Switch is a handheld system. So it kind of makes the Nintendo Switch version of Hot Wheels Unleashed completely useless. But the same cannot be said about the Steam version. Specifically, I'm going to bring this thing on the go, right? Hot Wheels Unleashed is easier to play, but I don't need to pay for any subscription, knock on wood. So that kind of makes the fact that, oh, you have to play online sort of an easier concept to grasp. So after playing the Steam version, playing it for a long time, loving it, oh my god, there are levels deeper into this game that are completely insane. And I'm so glad I gave it a second chance and I managed to play some online. Another thing, if I were to play the Nintendo Switch version of Hot Wheels Unleashed online, it wouldn't have been anywhere near the experience that I got with my Steam version because Nintendo Switch's servers are just terrible. Even Super Smash Bros. Ultimate doesn't play that well with a Nintendo Switch subscription. And if you're paying $50 for a Nintendo Switch subscription, then you're spending way too much. You should just cut down on the shopping and just quit it because that is not worth it. That is not worth $50. Not even worth $20, given all of the technical difficulties that I've run into with the Nintendo Switch Online. So yeah, the Nintendo Switch version is still a scam because of those reasons. And yes, I was wrong about the microtransactions, but in a way, the Nintendo Switch Online is sort of a microtransaction, but I know it's not. So yes, I was wrong about some things, but I still consider the Nintendo Switch version completely a waste of money because of those reasons. The Steam Deck version, Steam Online, is free. They don't really have a name for it, it's just online. So that kind of makes me feel better about not being able to unlock stuff on the go, but at least I'm having the best time with the game in an offline state, see? Because if I play offline, it doesn't harass me, and it's a lot better. Not trying to repeat myself too many times, but it does make the experience with the game so much better, especially the fact that it's 60 FPS, like it should have been on the Nintendo Switch, but I know they wanted to get some of the visuals correct. So yeah, I love the Steam version, and I love playing it on my Steam Deck so much better now, and I'm going to continue playing it online and all that. And overall, I give this game an 8 out of 10. The online feature kind of makes me a little upset, and it takes away 2 points, but the rest of the game is fantastic. Plays wonderfully. It's a perfect game. Okay, there is one thing they could fix: the soundtrack. The soundtrack is a little lame, so I usually mute the soundtrack and I put my own music when I play the game. But besides that, fantastic game. 8 out of 10. Great racing game. Awesome controls. Drift isn't perfect, but the tracks are crazy, and the storyline is actually pretty fun and entertaining. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thanks for watching the other video. Hope you guys are having a good one. Later.